Hello guys, this is Indian Medico, and in this video we'll see a review of electrocardiography or ECG. Electrocardiography is the process of producing an electrocardiogram. It is a graph of voltage versus time of the electrical activity of the heart using electrodes placed on the skin. This picture shows the normal parts of an ECG. The various waves are P, Q, R, S and T. The important parts to remember are PR interval, which is from the beginning of P wave to the beginning of QRS complex. QRS interval, which is from the beginning of the Q to the end of the S wave. QT interval, which is from the beginning of QRS to the end of T wave. Now let us see about the interpretation of an ECG. Step 1, we have to calculate the rate. Rate is equal to 300 divided by number of big boxes between two QRS complexes. In this example, there are 1, 2, 3 and 4 big boxes between two QRS complexes. So the heart rate is 75. Step 2 is we have to calculate the rhythm. We have to check if there are P wave before each QRS complex and if the P waves are of the same morphology. If both of these are present, it is sinus rhythm. That is, in sinus rhythm, there will be a P wave before each QRS complex and the P waves will be of the same morphology. As you can see in this example, there is a P wave before each QRS complex and the P waves are of the same morphology. This is an example of sinus rhythm. The third step is we have to determine the axis. If lead 1 and AVF are positive, the axis is normal. If lead 1 is positive and AVF is negative, we have to check lead 2. If lead 2 is positive, the axis is normal, and if lead 2 is negative, there is left axis deviation. If lead 1 is negative and AVF is positive, it is right axis deviation. As discussed earlier, if lead 1 and lead AVF are positive, it is normal axis. If lead 1 is positive, lead AVF is negative, and if lead 2 is negative, it is left axis deviation. If lead 1 is negative and lead AVF is positive, it is right axis deviation. Step 4 is we have to evaluate the intervals. Remember, one large box is equal to 0.2 seconds and one small box is equal to 0.04 seconds. As you can see in this picture, one large box is equal to 0.2 seconds or 0.5 millivolt amplitude. One small box is equal to 0.04 seconds or 0.1 millivolt in amplitude. The normal P wave should be less than 0.12 seconds. The normal PR interval should be between 0.12 to 0.2 seconds. If the PR interval is less than 0.12 seconds, it indicates junctional rhythm or bypass tract. If the PR interval is more than 0.2 seconds, it may indicate AV block. The normal QRS interval should be less than 0.12 seconds. If the QRS interval is more than 0.12 seconds, it can be due to left bundle branch block, right bundle branch block, or a non-specific conduction delay. The normal QT interval is between 0.33 to 0.47 seconds. Step 5 is we have to check for hypertrophy. In case of right atrial hypertrophy, there will be tall P waves in leads 2, 3 and AVF or V1 or V2. As you can see in this picture, there are tall P waves in lead 2 and in V1. This is a case of right atrial hypertrophy. In case of left atrial hypertrophy, there will be notched P waves in limb leads, as you can see in this picture. Coming to ventricular hypertrophy, in case of left ventricular hypertrophy, the height of S in millimeter in V1 plus the height of R in V5 will be greater than 35 millimeter. As you can see in this picture, the height of S in V1 and the height of R in V5 will be increased in case of left ventricular hypertrophy, and the sum will be more than 35 millimeter. In case of right ventricular hypertrophy, the ratio of height of R divided by height of S in V1 will be greater than 1. As you can see in this picture, in case of right ventricular hypertrophy, the ratio of height of R divided by height of S will be greater than 1. The sixth step is we have to look for ischemic changes. The various ischemic changes include ST elevation or depression. This picture shows ST elevation. There can also be T wave inversion or new left bundle branch block. This picture shows T wave inversion. Pathological Q waves indicate old infarcts. Now let us see about some specific ECG findings in various conditions. In case of hyperkalemia, there will be peaked T waves, widened QRS complex, and subtle flattening of P waves. In hypokalemia, there will be flattened T waves, U waves, and prolonged QT interval, and also ST segment depression. In case of hypercalcemia, there will be short QT interval, and in hypocalcemia, there will be prolonged QT interval. This picture shows the normal QT interval. As you can see, in hypercalcemia, there will be short QT interval, and in hypocalcemia, there will be prolonged QT interval. Now let us see about bradyarrhythmia. In first degree heart block, there will be prolonged PR interval with a regular rhythm. This picture shows a first degree heart block. As you can see, there is prolonged PR interval, that is more than 200 millisecond, and there is regular rhythm. Coming to Mobitz type 1 or Wenckeblack heart block. In this case, there will be progressive prolongation of the PR interval until a QRS complex is missed. This picture shows second degree heart block type 1, that is Wenckeblack or Mobitz type 1 heart block. As you can see, there is progressive prolongation of PR interval until there is a dropped QRS complex. Now let us see about Mobitz type 2 heart block. In this case, there is sudden disruption in AV conduction with no progressive prolongation of the PR interval. This picture shows second degree heart block type 2 or Mobitz type 2 heart block. There is sudden disruption in AV conduction as indicated by a non-conducted P wave and a dropped QRS complex, and there are fixed PR intervals. In third degree heart block, there is complete AV dissociation. As you can see in this picture, there are regular PP intervals which are unrelated to regular RR intervals, which indicates complete AV dissociation. There will also be P waves which march through the QRS-T complexes. Now let us see about sinus tachycardia. They originate in the SA node. The heart rate will be more than 100 to around 150 beats per minute. Sometimes it might even be slightly faster. The rhythm will be regular. All the P waves will be similar. The P waves will be sometimes tall and peaked. Sometimes the P waves are partially hidden. There will be normal PR interval and QRS complex. Causes of sinus tachycardia include fever, dehydration, exercise, and anemia. This picture shows an ECG of sinus tachycardia. As you can see, the heart rate is increased. Now let us see about atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation is irregular rhythm caused by disorganized electrical activity of the atrium. ECG will show absence of P waves and an irregular ventricular rate. This picture shows ECG of atrial fibrillation. As you can see, there is absence of P waves and irregular ventricular rate indicated by varying RR intervals. Now let us see about the treatment of atrial fibrillation. We have to do rate control with beta blocker, calcium channel blockers like diltiazem or digoxin. Antiarrhythmic agents can be used if there is failure to control rate or symptomatic despite rate control. We can give anticoagulation with warfarin. If the patient is unstable, we can do synchronized cardioversion. Now let us see about atrial flutter. It is a macro reentrant arrhythmia. Atrial rates are typically between 240 to 400 beats per minute. ECG will show sawtooth appearance as you can see in this picture. Now let us see about multifocal atrial tachycardia or MAT. It is irregular rhythm caused by at least 3 sites of competing atrial activity. ECG will show at least 3 different P wave morphologies in the same lead. This picture shows an ECG of multifocal atrial tachycardia. As you can see, there are 4 different P wave morphologies in the same lead. MAT is associated with COPD. Now let us see about premature ventricular contraction or PVC. These are ectopic beats of ventricular origin. ECG will show white QRS complex with no P wave. This picture shows ECG findings in a case of premature ventricular contraction. As you can see, there is a white QRS complex with no P wave. Now let us see about ventricular tachycardia. it is more than 3 consecutive premature ventricular contractions, that is more than 3 consecutive white QRS complexes with no P waves, as you can see in this picture. Sustained ventricular tachycardia must last more than 30 seconds. Now let us see about the treatment of ventricular tachycardia. If the patient is asymptomatic and not hypotensive, we can give lidocaine or amiodarone. If the patient is hypotensive or pulseless, we have to do defibrillation. Now let us see about the complications of ventricular tachycardia. It can lead to ventricular fibrillation, cardiac arrest or hemodynamic collapse. Now let us see about ventricular fibrillation. It is disorganized electrical activity of the ventricle. ECG will show chaotic irregular deflections of varying amplitude, as you can see in this picture. Treatment of ventricular fibrillation is emergency cardioversion. Now let us see about Target points. It is prolonged ventricular tachycardia with rotation around the axis in a patient with a prolonged QT interval at baseline. This picture shows ECG of Target points. The outline looks like a party streamer. And let us see about the causes of Target points. It can be caused by quinine, procainamide, intracranial bleed, tricyclic antidepressants, phenothiazines, electrolyte abnormalities like hypomagnesemia, hypokalemia and hypocalcemia. Now let us see about Wolff-Parkinson-White or WPW syndrome. In this case, there will be delta waves and short PR interval. This picture shows delta waves and this is the short PR interval seen in a case of WPW syndrome. Certain drugs are contraindicated in WPW syndrome. A mnemonic to remember the drugs is ABCD, that is adenosine, beta blocker, calcium channel blocker and digoxin. We have to treat WPW syndrome with procainamide. If the patient is unstable, that is if there is hypertension, tachycardia and evidence of hypoperfusion, we have to do synchronized cardioversion. Now let us see about ECG findings in a case of pericarditis. There will be diffuse ST elevations and PR depressions in almost all leads. This picture shows ECG findings in a case of pericarditis. As you can see, there will be ST elevation and PR depression in almost all leads, and there will be reciprocal PR elevation and ST depression in lead AVR. In myocarditis, ECG will show non-specific ST changes and dysrhythmias. In case of cardiac tamponade, there will be pulses paradoxes. ECG will show electrical alternance, that is a beat to beat change in the height of the QRS complex, as you can see in this picture. In case of pulmonary embolism, the most common ECG finding is sinus tachycardia. The classical finding, however, is S1 Q3 T3, that is there will be a prominent S wave in lead 1, as you can see in this picture, a prominent Q wave in lead 3 and an inverted T wave in lead 3. In case of hypothermia, there will be classic Osborn J wave, which is a small positive deflection following the QRS complex. This picture shows an Osborn wave. It is seen in hypothermia. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. For more such videos, please check out my playlists. If you like my videos, kindly subscribe. Your subscription will encourage me to make more videos. Thank you.